Today's news. Today's news.
Florida storm prep. This is going to affect us one way or another. Growing Mideast tension. Hezbollah and Israel on the brink of an all-out war. Government sues Visa.
It is charging a hidden toll on trillions of transactions.
Good morning, I'm Steve Kazin. With the CBS World News Roundup, people who live along the western Florida coast are bracing for what's expected to be a major hurricane. Tropical storm Helene is swirling into the Gulf of Mexico, and forecasters say it's expected to be a Category 3 hurricane by the time it reaches the Sunshine State. Here's CBS's Jason Allen.
Along Florida's west coast, residents are boarding and filling up before Helene's potentially dangerous hit. In Tallahassee, Dorothy Richardson is getting ready to hunker down with 6 of her grandchildren.
Got my sandbags, got my coal, got my lighter fluid, got my propane tank.
Meanwhile, Russell King is preparing to evacuate his Mexico Beach home. He says the house barely withstood Hurricane Michael in 2018.
We lost our shower. We lost all of our ground floor walls. We think we're okay with these now, but, we don't know.
Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency for most of Florida, and mandatory evacuations are in effect for some living along the coast.
Now to the Middle East, where Israel intercepted a Hezbollah missile that was apparently aimed at Tel Aviv. And CBS's Chris Livesay reports on an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon that targeted a Hezbollah leader.
The heart of Beirut's densely populated southern suburbs targeted in yet another airstrike, with Hezbollah later confirming Ibrahim Kubaisi, the leader of its rocket and missile force, was among the dead, as tens of thousands of civilians flee the Israeli military's bombardment of Lebanon's south. Israel says it's only targeting Hezbollah military infrastructure and missile launch sites. Hezbollah says it won't stop shooting until Israel pulls out of Gaza, while Israel demands Hezbollah stop its attack so that around 60,000 of its displaced residents from northern Israel can return to their homes. And this morning, smoke over the horizon of Tel Aviv, where Israelis were woken to the blaring of sirens after the Israeli military intercepted a surface-to-surface missile, the first time the Iran-backed militants have ever fired such a weapon at Israel's biggest city.
And there's word today that Israel's military activated reserve brigades. The Kremlin said today forcing Russia into peace would be a fatal mistake. It's a response to the UN speech made yesterday by Ukraine's President Zelensky. He said Russia can only be forced into peace, and he plans to present what he calls a victory plan to President Biden tomorrow. CBS's Robert Costa is on the presidential campaign trail as both candidates hit key states.
In Georgia, former President Donald Trump boasted he would bring a manufacturing renaissance to the state.
We're cutting the business tax from 21% to 15%, which makes us the most competitive tax anywhere on the planet, but only for those who make their product in the USA.
And vowed to generate more American jobs.
Under my leadership, we're going to take other countries' jobs.
Today, Vice President Harris will lay out her economic vision to voters in western Pennsylvania, while Tuesday she put an emphasis on another key issue, abortion rights, calling for a change to Senate rules to secure federal protection.
We should eliminate the filibuster for roads and get us to the point where 51 votes would be what we need to actually put back in law the protections for reproductive freedom.
New upgraded attempted assassination charges have been filed against Ryan Ruth. The Justice Department says he plotted to kill former President Trump at his Florida golf course. He was initially charged with 2 federal firearms offenses. The Justice Department has filed an antitrust lawsuit against Visa, alleging that the company uses its size and dominance to stifle competition in the debit card market.
Visa's unlawful conduct affects not just the price of one thing, but the price of nearly everything.
Attorney General Merrick Garland alleges Visa penalizes merchants and banks who don't use Visa's own payment processing technology to handle debit transactions, even though alternatives exist. Visa calls the suit meritless. Los Angeles police say one passenger was shot and killed when a city bus was hijacked overnight by a man with a gun. There was a police pursuit. Officers using a flashbang as they closed in. A suspect is now in custody. You're listening to the Wednesday Morning World News Roundup from CBS News.